So about Code Geass. Code Geass is one of those animes that just everyone knows about. Well, maybe not outside of people who don't watch anime, but 9 times out of 10 if you ask an anime fan, they have heard of it at least once. It is recognized as one of the best unanimously. I have never seen a person actually say anything bad about the series. Whenever Code Geass is mentioned, it is always praised about how good the series is. And just recently I watched Code Geass. Well, not all of it, but I'm pretty close to finishing it. I'm at the part where Suzuku and Lelouch meet at that shrine, and it's actually the second time I tried watching Code Geass. The first time I ended up dropping the series actually, not because I thought it was bad or anything like that. I forgot what specifically it was, but there was another series I was more interested in, so I just decided to drop Code Geass for the moment and watch the other series, since I don't like splitting my attention between series like that, unless it's seasonal since it's only one episode a week. But yeah, I ended up dropping it at like episode 10 or something. I was planning to get back to it once I finished the other series, but it never ended up happening, and then I just kind of forgot about the series. It hadn't been brought up really at all, so I never thought about getting back to it. The only reason I did now was because I saw a thread about something, and they mentioned the Lelouch, and I was like, oh yeah, Code Geass exists. Since I was looking for something new to watch, it was perfect timing. So I rewatched it from the start, since I remembered basically nothing, and that leads us to where we are now. And honestly, Code Geass is kind of falling short of my expectations. So I wanted to talk about Code Geass today, my general thoughts and opinions about it, at least so far. Before that though, like and subscribe for future content. Just a heads up, I already know how Code Geass ends, or at least for the most part I do. Lelouch sacrifices himself to save his friends and country by making him the enemy of everyone, or something along those lines. I at least know Lelouch gets killed by the end of it. I mean, kind of a bummer that I know how it ends already, but with how popular and how old it is, that isn't really all that surprising. That's like the equivalent of being spoiled of Ace's death. He died over a decade ago at this point, and so many people talk about it, so can't really complain about the spoilers like that. They were bound to happen eventually. But yeah, Code Geass fell short of what I was expecting, and it's not like I think it's bad. The show is still really good, don't get me wrong. The ending of season 1 was really fucking good. I replayed it at least 10 times, but overall I don't think it is as good as people make it out to be, unless I'm just crazy or something, because I was just waiting for that one scene to hit me and make me go crazy for the series, since so many people are heads over heels about it. So I was just bracing myself to get hit with that one scene that wins me over, but it never really came. The story has some good plot twists and stuff sprinkled throughout the show, but they weren't like that one mind-blowing type of plot twist. For a while I was contemplating if I was desensitized or something, because while other people were jumping for joy for Code Geass, I wasn't really feeling that way. And I mean, I think that's partly why, because if Code Geass was one of the first shows I watched, I would probably be praising it like crazy. Fairy Tail was one of my first animes and I loved it to death, and even though I acknowledge that Code Geass is better than Fairy Tail, I enjoyed Fairy Tail more than I did Code Geass. It just doesn't feel like that type of show for me right now. I watched a decent amount of anime, but I don't think that would be enough to change how I feel about it. I don't even know how to explain it, it's weird. Like, I acknowledge that the series is good, but I don't feel like one of those people that gush over the show. I think it was the hype that killed it for me, honestly, because I've never heard anything negative about it. All I hear is how godly and timeless Code Geass is, which I agree with on the timeless part. It will be one of those shows people recommend no matter how old it gets, but it was so idolized that it subconsciously gave me some crazy expectations for it. Like, I thought it would just have me sit there and think about it after I finished it, but right now I don't feel anything close to that. Code Geass is pretty overrated, honestly. I feel like I would have enjoyed it way more if people weren't hyping it up to this extent, because it sets unrealistic standards for the show. If I found it on my own knowing nothing about it, I probably would have ended up enjoying it way more. And by the way, a show can be good and still be overhyped. Some shows just get showered with praise. It's not a bad thing exactly, but for someone who is just getting into the series, it gives them expectations that probably won't be met, and then they start feeling like it's not as good as people think and end up not enjoying it as much. Code Geass was enjoyable, but not to the extent I was expecting. The same happened with Jujutsu Kaisen for some people. For a while people were calling it overhyped because of how many people were praising it, and people suspect the same will happen with Chainsaw Man when it comes out, and it probably will, since people praise it like it's a religion. I know the show is good, the writing and characters and all that are well done, as well as the planning and strategies that are made. It's just that something in the back of my brain is rejecting it. I like it, but I'm not crazy about it like I was hoping to. I don't really do this stuff, but if I had to rate it, I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. But yeah, that pretty much sums up what I had to say about Code Geass. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for future content. Peace.